Morning. Just got back from Wyoming a couple days ago, and we got to get back into the grind. It's harvest season, lots going on, and I got a lot of odd jobs I got to get done right now. Got a load of straw that I need to put away here this morning, or at least I'm going to try to put as many away as I can. Just got back from work. I was playing a bunch of cover crop again today. It's all I've been doing the last couple of days. I enjoy that job. But this time of year, I am pretty much completely preoccupied with harvest. So the farm here gets put on the back burner except for those urgent jobs. And those urgent jobs are basically just selling hay. So every morning between 6 and 7, I make myself available to sell hay if need be. Most mornings I do. But today I got off early because, well, I just happened to finish in a convenient spot. I'm taking this opportunity to do some things that needed to get done. One of them being empty this tank out. It's Saturday now, end of the week, wrapping stuff up. I'm staying pretty much right on the tail of the harvest crew, playing cover crop. See if I make this turn one-handed. Up, turn, bounce around a couple times, and auto steer. Put it down, forward, there we go. Planted wheat at the beginning of the week, and now we're planting rye cover crop. But yeah, I've pretty much been doing this all week and standing right on the heel of the harvest crew. We've had some beautiful weather, so they've been hammering stuff out, and I've been standing right behind them, getting this stuff in the ground. Eventually we'll get to a point where we won't put any more cover crop in. It'll kind of just get too late. We only have so much seed. So anyway, I enjoy this job. Just out here by myself, listening to my podcast, enjoying my time. There's a Salford I-1100 back there. And a Vortec air cart, and basically it's an air seeder. That's what it is. Not really any heavy tillage going on here. We don't really do that. Some people do. It doesn't really work for us, so we're not going to do it. You can come at me if you want, but minimal till, no till, it's kind of the way we like to do things, at least here for us in southeastern PA. We don't have heavy soils, so we don't have to do tillage in the spring or fall to like get stuff to dry out. I understand there's a lot of people that do that, you know, more out west, but we don't have those heavy soils that have to dry out, so we don't do any heavy tillage like that. Now there are guys that do, and they'll rip up the ground on a steep slope, and I look at the field and I go, why would you do that? You're just going to lose all your topsoil and organic matter. But hey, you are entitled to do what you want to do. Anyway, that was kind of a weird rant. I'm sorry about that. We got early morning straw pickup. Bundles are a pain in the butt with the spears, only because when they're laying flat and you spear them through the edge of the bale, the spears like to pop the center bales out because the spears aren't long enough. So one of my customers and I found a way that if we ratchet the top half, when we go to pick the bundle up, the bales don't pop out and they stay nice and sturdy. So find a string here, run it across, and we'll ratchet it. Get it nice and tight, and hopefully those center bales don't come popping out. So if I go to lift my bucket, tilt it, you look out there. If I was to do this without the strap, those center bales would be popping out. So makes it nice. It's just easier. I'll drop it in the bed of this pickup. We'll take the strap off and call it good. Well, just for fun, I decided to put the straight pipe on because, well, we're pretty much done with the tractors this time of year. So I like to put the straight pipes on just to kind of play around a little bit. When we're out in the field, it's nice to have the mufflers on because, well, we don't want to blow our eardrums out. But straight pipes are also fun. So Eli actually welded on this adapter that we had for a while. I just now realized that it's not going to sit below the hood just because of how the manifold is. It's a really, really tall manifold there. So just gonna have to work like that. Maybe at some point we'll cut the manifold down just so we can sit that pipe on. But if I did that, then I wouldn't be able to put that pipe on. I'm gonna fire this thing up. Actually, I gotta put the clamp on and we'll fire it up. So I gotta get out of here. And then I got a whole bunch of hay that I gotta shuffle around. I need to move a bunch of these big bales because I need to get to these dry bales here. So I need to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I gotta move 13 bales here so I can get to these bales back here. And then I got some small bales to move. Got done working on corn today early because we filled the bins up. I actually have some time today, some daylight, where I can actually do some real work. I haven't had the straight pipe on here in a while. Almost forget what it sounds like. It's not going to start very nice because it's got gas carburetor problems. She's a little loud. That's why we don't run with her during hay season.
Don't wear leggings while throwing hay.
Little steep.
A little.
It is another day in this jumbled video. I don't know how many days are in this video, but you know, it's another day. Today's October 24th. We're coming down the home stretch of harvest. There's another week and a half maybe left of hard hitting at it harvest. That's a plus because we've got a lot of stuff that needs to get done on the farm. It just hasn't gotten done yet. We've got all the equipment to wash. We've got a lot of repairs and stuff, little itty bitty things that got to get done here and there. We've got some upgrades that need to happen. We've got a lot of behind the scenes stuff as far as crop inputs, fertilizer, lime, spraying, budgeting, just a lot of behind the scenes, some finance stuff. That needs to happen here kind of before the end of the year in preparation for next year. With that being said, though, we have been moving a crap ton of hay here this month. The high quality grass hay we made off the fields here at home is pretty much gone. There's a lady that has that little pile spoken for. We have a lot of that second cutting meadow grass. We haven't really touched that yet, but we're starting to get some interest in it. We've got the first cutting meadow grass pile that's getting pretty small. We're moving straw constantly, so we empty the barn out and we get it restocked and stuff. Our high quality hay pile is getting pretty small, as you can see. So this over here is a little bit of second cutting. There's third and fourth cutting in this pile. This here is fifth cutting. It's all spoken for. We've got some high quality straight alfalfa that we need to move here soon. I would like to move it. It looks really brown on the outside, but I guarantee you it is premium green on the inside. I did sell a bunch of these big bales. This is first cutting meadow grass. It's kind of that weedy stuff with a lot of Johnson grass, but you know, it's making actually phenomenal cattle hay, really dry stuff. So we sold a bunch of that, and then we sold a bunch of the second cutting over here from that same field. The first cutting mix hay that was off of that field, this pile is getting really small. If you remember, this pile was all the way out to here up to the rafters. We do have a bunch of big bales here. All these kind of brown ones were at the front of that stack. These were made back in, I forget, I think it was July. It was the first cutting of the grass field that we made here at home, and it was just far too wet. And we ended up halting the baling of this stuff and waiting a couple days and then wrapping the rest of it. That's a nice green bale from the meadow fields, and there's some more behind it. And then we do have 20 some odd bales of the first cutting meadow grass down in the steer barn, and then we have the 15 bales of wrapped hay. So kind of what I'm thinking as far as hay goes, we're going to take all these kind of brown bales right here, take them out to the steers and feed them. I don't really think I can get much for them, even if I take them to auction. I mean, maybe $150 a ton. I mean, I've seen some crazy crappy stuff go for good money, but you're kind of hitting the lottery with that. So I think I'm going to be better off just feeding this stuff. And then the stuff that's in the steer barn that I was intending to feed to the steers is actually this really nice green dry stuff behind me that I know I can sell. So I think I will take out the equivalent number of those good bales, swap them with those. And then I might even take a couple more out because we have those 15 bales of wrapped hay that I'm going to feed as well. That's where we're standing as far as hay goes. I wouldn't be surprised if almost all of this is moved out by the end of the year. The final kind of update I want to talk about is our fields and where we're at with them. So if you remember, we took a fifth cutting off of this field, and this is the regrowth that we got on it. And I'm pretty pleased with it. The alfalfa got some good regrowth. The grass has got some good regrowth. And going into winter, I think we're going to be all right. Obviously, you can see the frost has nipped the alfalfa, so that's going to die off here and get brown pretty quickly. But overall, I'm pleased with the regrowth we got on it. Now, what I would like to do is put some like chicken litter down on this stuff. Last year we put the compost and it responded really well, so I would like to try to do that again. The grass field over there is kind of a different story. The issue with that field is we had a bunch of weeds in it, and the big one was fall panicum, which was basically a fall grass. It's nasty, it's disgusting, it doesn't cure in a bale. All that brown in that field is the fall panicum that has finally kind of died off. Now, to solve that particular issue is we're going to treat it with the
Prowl program. Prowl is a pre-emerge herbicide. We were going to put down 2,4-D and, you know, try to kill off the broadleaf here this fall. But the biggest issue that we have right now is we are so freaking dry. And you can't tell because everything still looks super green, and that's because we've been getting really heavy dews every night. But the ground itself is extremely dry. We had a super dry summer, and then at the beginning of September we planted that hay, we planted some grass and some alfalfa, and then we didn't get any rain all of September. At the very end of September, Hurricane Helene came through, devastated the southeast United States, but we hardly got any rain. It was cloudy, misty for like a week straight, but we only got 1.25 inches out of all of that rain in that storm, and we only got 1.25 inches, and that is all we've had since then. It hasn't rained since, and today is October 24th, and that hurricane hit like October 2nd or 3rd or 4th or something. So in like 20 days, we still have not had any rain. We were super dry before that, and we didn't get enough rain to really replenish anything. So we had enough rain to germinate the hay. We haven't had any moisture since. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling. I need to get this tractor out because I need to get to that hay right there, and might as well listen to this thing bark. Today we're doing some disc pine maintenance. I'm doing a pretty important step that I think everybody with a disc pine should do, but I know not everybody does it, and that is literally just taking a putty knife or something to scrape off all the gunk on the inside of your disc pine, because what happens, there's a lot of moisture in all this stuff. It dries up, it causes rust. Honestly, I should have done this a while ago, and if you want to go a step further, you pressure wash it or something every time you finish mowing, but you know, that kind of stuff takes some time and sometimes gets in the way of efficiency, so we don't do it. But I at least like to do this every year just to make sure that I'm getting rid of all this gunk. So I'll peel all this stuff off with a putty knife, and it's kind of a time-consuming process. I like to be pretty thorough, and then we'll pressure wash it and try to get this thing as clean as we can before putting it away for winter. Some people prefer just to pressure wash it and not even do a putty knife or scraping or anything. I personally don't like to do that because it just turns everything into a soupy, gucky mess. I've done it both ways, and I prefer this way. The worst of the cleaning is done on this. I could honestly just leave it as is for the rest of the season because I got all the cake off, so it's not going to like do any more rusting. But because I like to take care of my equipment, we will blow it off with the blower yet. There's a lot of kind of just loose chaff here, and we will wash it with some soap and water just to get all of this cruddy dirt off and just keep it looking shiny. The big thing when cleaning these things out is to get underneath the rollers. You can see that there is actually a lot of rust happening there. So by cleaning it off every season, we can try to slow that decaying process down. Out here at the steer barn this morning, I'm going to try to bring you guys along to the steer barn more often this year, and I'm going to try to make more steer videos kind of explaining what we do here, how we do it, why we do it, and maybe more of the really technical reasons why we like to do grass-fed beef. So if you're interested, tag along and I'll try to bring you along. But today is not going to be anything in-depth. I'm just kind of doing some cleanup out here. So this hay right here, this conglomeration, this pile of hay, is actually what's left of a big stack of big square bales that have been sitting here since the summer that the steers have just eaten down. You see, back in July, we made the first cutting of our new seeding of grass hay. It was kind of a disaster. There were a ton of weeds in it, which was pretty expected given that, you know, it was a new seeding. We didn't do any weed control, and we had put a lot of manure on in the spring, so you get a lot of weed seeds in your manure, which is exactly what happened. But on top of that, we had terrible weather conditions, but we were kind of pressed and we wanted to get this cutting of hay made so that we could try to get a second cutting that was cleaner. Well, what happened is we made a bunch of big bales that should have been wrapped, that we tried to make dry, and it just did not work. As you can see, there's a lot of just junk in here. It's really brown, really dusty. Not great hay. The cows, however, have been nibbling through it over the last couple months. There was like 4 or 5 big bales here. I'm not sure if Dad fed more of them or forked it around or did what, but this is what's left, and I'm trying to just clean it up a little bit here. Looking back, we should have wrapped everything that we big baled there because we ended up wrapping some hay off of the field over there, and I'm actually pretty excited to feed that, but we should have wrapped this too because it would have made really nice baleage. But that's one of the many lessons that I learned this year, and now I know for next year or whenever it happens again that if I'm pushed like that, I'm better off just wrapping it. So I brought these hay bales out. These were cakey, tougher bales. This one was super heavy. I assumed it was just wet and wasn't going to feed for a horse. Man, oh day, look at that. Now it is dusty. It's not going to be horse hay because it's dusty there, but goodness gracious, look at that leaf. That's cow feed. Come here. Come here. Come on. Hey, come here. Come here. Oh, yeah. Candy. You want more? Come on. Come on, Tom. Oh, yeah. That's the good stuff. What are you doing? Something tells me they like it. Is that a yeah? How about you? You like it? You?